Hi, I'm Patrick,
And I'm Liv.
and this is the Mach-E vlog.
But we are not inside our Mach-E. We are inside a 2024 Mustang Mach-E GT. We're going to check it all out and take you along for the ride. So let's go. Where are we, Patrick?
We're in my hometown of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and we've been using this 2024 Mustang Mach-E GT for the past few days. So it was a great way to compare it to our 2022 Mustang Mach-E GT Performance Edition. But we want to make this as like a review and overview so that if you're looking at the differences, you'll get good information. But also, if you're completely unfamiliar with the Mach-E, we'll do an intro overview of all the goodies that it has to offer.
Goodies, good term. This car is loaded with goodies. A lot of similar goodies to what we have, but a couple new ones.
Couple of new things. And we'll get into the differences in a little bit. Right now, we're headed out to so that we can film the exterior, but we figure we'll take you along for the drive. A lot of people wait and do the drive later, and that's what we used to do, but we're like, you know what, let's just go for a drive. We'll show you what it's like to drive it. And of course, the main selling point of getting the GT versus a Select or a Premium in the Mach-E is how quick it is. And
perfect timing.
Yeah, this is like almost perfect time at it. We're going to get on the on-ramp. We're going to just give it some power, not even full power.
And,
I was not even like half throttled there, especially being on a curb. It is really, really quick. Our 2022 is really, really quick. The biggest question is like, what are the differences between the two and how does it feel? Because our 2022 does 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. This does 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. Do I feel that on around town driving it for the past few days? Not really, because I'm not doing 0 to 60 blast even from stoplights or getting on ramps. But I do feel a little bit of a difference, like when we're on the freeway like this, and I need to like pop around somebody really quickly. I believe that like 60 to 75, like when you really step on it, this does seem a bit more responsive. It's a lot faster on the top end. We haven't really played around with that, and I don't think most people will experience that in their day-to-day driving. Let's just say it is sufficiently quick and a lot of fun and a lot of power. It has 700 pound-feet of torque compared to 600 pound-feet of torque that ours has. I think ours actually was like 623 with the Performance Edition. But it has a little bit more torque, a bit quicker. I know the quarter-mile times are faster. We've never done a quarter-mile run. So if that's your thing, enjoy. You'll have a lot of fun with it.
And then as far as like right now, we're doing everything that we do normally. BlueCruise is activated. Patrick is hands-free. It is such a smooth ride. The GT and Magna ride feels the same.
GT Magna ride, it feels the same. The wheels are different. We'll show you that when we get out. But BlueCruise 1.3, ours when we first got it had BlueCruise 1.0. It's been upgraded to 1.3. This one came with 1.3, and it's basically hands-free system. Let me move over here. It's going to do an automatic lane change.
If you can't see it,
not
there's a
automatic,
big old truck
but
coming.
And I just realized I need to get over there. So this is one of those where I'm like, it's nice to have a little bit of power. BlueCruise is a hands-free system, which means on certain roads I can go completely hands-free, but not all roads. Like with this interchange, it wants me to keep my hand on the steering wheel. On a lot of other roads, like regular non-freeways, you can turn it on, but you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel. But for a lot of this road that we're getting ready to get on, it'll be hands-free, and with the 1.3 upgrades, it does lane changes with the tap of the blinker. It will also scooch over when we're passing big trucks. And I think that's one that Liv really appreciates when I'm passing a truck and there's a big truck over there.
I love this Gucci because I think we all probably have this. When there's a big truck next to you, you just feel like a little, and you just want to scooch. And the fact that it does it is excellent and comforting. And it's always cute because you can see it on the instrument cluster. So cute or cool?
Yeah, it just makes it feel a lot better. 1.3 is very similar to 1.2. They added a lot of the same features, but it's getting more, basically more and more comfortable, smoother, less disengagements. So it's just gotten better and better. So if you have a 2022, you've probably already got these upgrades, and this is the 2024, and it has the upgrades. One thing that we're not going to do in this video, but we have done a couple of times already in the past week, is DC fast charged it. That's one of the other big improvements for the 2024 that makes it very tempting for people to upgrade or just consider the Mach-E. It charges 20% faster than the 2022, 2023, 2021 Mustang Mach-E. So it isn't like twice as fast, it's 20% faster. It just means you're getting a few minutes less at the charging stops. So that's really nice to have. And as a bonus, this now has 285 miles of range versus like 260 for last year's version. And if you think about it, it's like if you charging slightly faster and you're getting more range out of that charge, that 20% is probably effective. I don't know. I haven't done the math. Maybe 20, 23, 24% faster to get the miles that you need. If that makes any sense.
It totally makes sense. Yeah. And by the way, we've spent a week in this Mustang Mach-E GT. It's rapid red. It's gorgeous. But we actually spent the previous week in a Grabber Blue 2024 Mustang Mach-E GT. So it's been GT madness. It's been 2024 Mach-E madness for the past 2 weeks, really. So we'll have other videos out in that GT as well. We did the Salem, Massachusetts Haunted Happening kick up to the Halloween parade. We did a Jacob's Ladder drive. So I've actually gotten to spend a lot of time in this exact trim, and it's weird because it feels like we're constantly in our car, but we have that extra boost of charging, like Patrick said, and we've been able to charge now in Massachusetts, in New York, in Siler City, North Carolina.
Hope Mills,
and Hope Mills, Circle K. So we've actually had like a lot of driving and a lot of charging experiences in this exact trim, and it's been cool, and also it's been really familiar. Also, just prior to that, we were in Denver and we were in the Mercedes EQE, and we were really like assessing the suspension of it because that's a big selling point for that. So it's something that I don't feel like I do often enough when we sit in a Mach-E because it's so familiar, is assess the suspension a lot. You know what I mean? Like right. I do it in new cars. So while we've been hanging out here, I've been watching the road. This is obviously a really smooth road, but assessing the suspension. And I feel like it's something I should mention because we test out so many other vehicles, is that in comparison to the suspension of a lot of vehicles we ride in and drive, it's great. And it feels cushioned but planted. I was just thinking about that because like sometimes they feel airy and bouncy. Mm-hmm. I think this feels like quite planted and cushioned. What about you?
Definitely. And that's because the GT has MagneRide suspension, which is a fantastic technology. And it's basically magnetically controlled damper shocks that, like when we hit like little bumps like that, it instantly and within milliseconds, it's adjusting the suspension to account for that. So it gets things under control, which makes it feel planted. It also will adjust based on whisper, engage, or unbridled, the different drive modes that we have. So Unbridled is a bit firmer. Right now we're driving in Whisper because it's almost like a comfort mode. Um, it handles really nicely, but I can put it in Unbridled, and that means it'll tighten up that suspension and those reactions even more. So it'll be a bit of a firmer ride, but it makes it so that like cornering and everything is even better. MagneRide has been around. They've had it on Chevy's had it in Cadillacs and Corvettes and Camaros and stuff. You can get it in Mustang. So it's really cool to have that in this car, and it really helps with as much weight as there is. So I really like having it, and it really improves the ride quality. And we've done, Liv mentioned the Mercedes. That car costs $30,000 more than this, and this is not quite there as far as comfort because it has like an air suspension. This is really, really good compared to competitors in its comparison class, and that includes the Model Y, like ID4, Ioniq 5. You may just consider this biased, but you're watching this video. But in my opinion, it has the best suspension out of any of those, specifically with the GT.
And it's not something we talk about that much because typically we're in our own car. You guys are used to us driving our own car. So it's kind of fun that we are now in a 2 years newer model. You're like sort of trying to share as though this is a fresh experience, right? You've never seen us before and you're just watching this video. That is our fresh take on MagneRide. And I think it's spot on. Yeah. Cushioned, but planted, responsive, really, really comfy. And it felt like we're in our car the whole time. Like it feels just back at home.
Well, and part of that is some of the fact that, like everything in the interior is pretty much identical. There's some slight changes that we'll get to, but it's also, with the Mach-E, you have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. So like I hop in, I have my phone. Once I connected my phone, like I have all of my map settings and music and everything is to my liking, which is a feature I really, really know that a lot of people like, and I really, really like to have is Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. We're running Android Auto right now. It's like my, I hate to say it, but like my life is on my phone. So it's, good to have that very easily accessible in the car. Like I get the text messages and I can change the option, whether it's like ignore all text messages or does it read it out to me or read a summary to me. Like, all of those things that phones are really good at doing. It has access to all of our music. Whatever music app I have on my phone, I can basically use on Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. So it's sort of like it gives us a lot of flexibility. It's a huge bonus. A lot of other manufacturers still have that. But I'm going to specifically call out like Chevy is no longer supporting CarPlay or Android Auto.
That's
Tesla,
a big negative.
Rivian, they don't support those. Some people say it's not necessary in those because they have their own native software. But in my opinion, I like having, it's like I do everything on my phone and then I hop in my car for like an hour. I don't want to have to like switch to a different system.
And part of it is like you hop in, your music's already there, or in this case, because we're in Patrick's hometown, he's looking up restaurants or chatting with friends and then pulling up a place on a map that we're going to meet. And that's all there. So in Google Maps, it's all there and ready, and like we're ready to navigate. If that is not a priority for you, that's totally fine.
And there's ways in like Tesla, I know like you can send it to, like you can like share your map to the Tesla app, which then of course brings it up. So, it isn't like a huge, thing for a lot of people, but, for a lot of us, it's like we like this and it's great to have. And we're actually turning around because like we quickly got to where we needed to go. And I don't want to head too far out of town because we're going to go back there and get something to eat. But yeah, this has, all the cool stuff, all the features that we love from our Mach-E. Very nice, comfortable seats. The GT seats are very comfortable for us. Very nice and easily accessible. We have our charging pad. Only charges one phone. I think that's like all cars, but a lot of people are now going like, hey, there's 2 people in the front seat. Can you put chargers for 2? It's only charging space for 1. AC is fantastic as usual.
I have a thing to add about the charging pad though. Like if you're connected to Android Auto, I feel like I plug in because it's just like the charging pad, your phone heats up, it's not super efficient. And if I'm the passenger, I'm plugged in because I want to play with my phone. So I'm never putting my phone there. So I don't care.
Yeah.
Personally, I like to plug
Yeah.
in. What do you like?
A lot of people have said, like, if you're using Android Auto on or CarPlay on a long trip, the charging pad is not sufficient to keep the phone charged or add charge while you're driving. You like slowly lose charge no matter what. And we've been in a lot of cars, and I can tell you, like, all of them are that way. Like, it's a lot to ask. It's sort of like no phone can really
keep up with running
keep
a
up.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tall order.
Oh, there's somebody running on the
I know,
side of the road.
and with a wave vest.
Yeah. We're near
Dang.
Fort Liberty. Oh, there's a Mach-E.
Ooh.
I don't know why I'm going to follow them.
I mean, I love it. I feel like we're stalking them now. I don't have any fancy ponies. I feel terrible.
And by the way, Fancy Ponies, all that, lives wearing the Mach-E Club of America shirt. If you do have a Mach-E, if you're considering a Mach-E
enthusiast,
join the Mustang Mach-E Club. We do ask, like, if you're an owner when you join the Mustang Mach-E Club, but if you just put in there, like, I want to or anything like that, I'm not going to follow them.
They're going to Walmart. I'm like, we could give them a card.
But join the Mustang Mach-E Club of America. We'll put links down in the description so that you can join. We can help answer questions beyond what's in this video, beyond what you've seen in any video. Like, we'll answer all of those questions and talk about, like, all of the features that you may want to know about and answer those little nitty-gritty details. But
we will. And also, you'll be a part of an awesome community that's there to help you as well and be enthusiastic with you, because the Mustang Mach-E is such an awesome car that people want to name it. People love the cars. You probably love yours. So you will be among friends.
And
I think doing donuts in the parking lot.
No, I think that's the end for our driving segment. At least for right now. We may add another driving segment if we think of something. But right now we got to get some food, and then we'll film some more stuff.
Let's do it.
Now we stopped at a local park in my hometown and didn't even realize this was here, but this is actually really cool. They have some charge point chargers. These are level 2 chargers, which means I could probably add about 20 miles of range to the car per hour. The cool thing is they're free, and you'll find these scattered throughout the community, not in all locations, but you never know. You may be able to, like, go to the park, spend a couple of hours, and get like 40 miles of range added to your car, whether it's a Mach-E or whatever EV. But we were going to come here to film, and we thought might as well plug in and charge for a little bit.
And by the way, we're not going to show you this, but right on the other side of us right here is like the kids play area. So literally, if there's a parent with an electric vehicle, they can park here, spend an hour or two playing with their kid, and get a good chunk of battery, probably more than they spent driving here. So that's super awesome.
Like right now, we don't need to charge, but we might as well charge because it's free. How often can you get extra, energy for your vehicle, whether it's gas or electric, and it's free? So that's really cool. But we stopped here because we wanted to, like, show you the outside of the car and talk about some more features. So let's do that.
One of our favorite features of the Mach-E is, of course, the frunk. This is a super awesome space, and it's a little bit different on this model year. We have a ton of our gear in here, so let me scooch it up to the side. Can you see that little ridgy thing there? That's the drains now. So we have one on each side, which is kind of cool.
So you can put ice in, and as the ice melts, it literally just drains right out. Or like if you have kids that play like soccer, you throw their cleats in here when they're done. When you get home, you take the cleats out, and you can literally just hose out that area, and it drains out all nice and easy.
Last night we were having dinner with one of Patrick's high school friends, and they're all local, and they go to the football games and the basketball games, and they tailgate. So Patrick was showing her all about how you could tailgate with this. And if you don't know, there are cup holders as well. Like literally cup holders here. It's made for tailgating. It's super, super useful. And it can hold a carry-on. if you wish.
That's way smaller than the carry-on, but
you can hold a normal carry-on. But what we use it for oftentimes at home is, you know, the normal chairs you get $8 at Walmart. So we have 2 of those. They fit there. We have all of our charging accessories, all the adapters, stuff like that, and that's what we put in here. And if you wondered,
we got to show. There's a lot of pony logos throughout the car. And this is one that a lot of people will miss, but like we'll show you some of them. We actually have a video from back in 2021 where we show you like all of the ponies. We find them all if you want to know.
And there are 17, but there are only 16 in this because it's 1 pony short in the back, right? And if you wondered, this is a bit hard to close, so you have to go for it. Just go for it.
And that's because it's like sealed so that your stuff doesn't get dusty and dirty inside. It's not like completely 100% sealed, but to get it to close, yeah, you got to give it some effort. So we're not going to spend a huge amount of time on charging, but we are here charging on this level 2 charger. And we did, like I said, some DC fast charging. DC fast charging is faster. It actually isn't like a faster peak, but the averages over like a charging session, it can charge faster for longer. So then that means you get to faster charging speed. I do want to mention like a little slight detail. Let me know what you think if you don't have a new Mach-E, but they've added this little dimple to let you know like where to push to get the charge port door to open. And a couple of times, like my brother's been like, oh no, you got a dent. He goes, oh, that's actually designed to be there. I sort of like it without it. I'd almost be like, I want to replace this with one from a 2022 that doesn't have the dimple. I don't love it. Yeah.
I don't love it. I don't see a need for it.
But it is a manual release, open, you know, your J1772 plugs in right here. And then the flaps down below for DC fast charging. And I'm going to improvise real quick. I want to show you something that's been a real big addition for us. And that's we now have the Tesla adapter, which means we can charge on about 15,000 different Tesla supercharging stalls. It actually equates to about 2,000 more charging stations that are available to us. And basically we plug the Tesla cable into here, and then we plug that into the car. Now, I do have to note this one is only for DC fast charging, which means only for Tesla superchargers. If you're using Tesla destination chargers, like at hotels, there's a different adapter. That one you have to buy. This one is free if you already own a Mach-E, but they actually just stopped that.
It was like September 30th.
Yeah,
right?
I just remember you had to order by September 30th. They're gonna start charging for this. I don't know if they're including them with new vehicles. I don't think so, I'm not sure. We'll check that and put some information down below about getting this, but it just makes it really nice to have access, more options. It basically like doubles your charging options. And I got this case off of Amazon. I'll see if I can find a link to it. I like carrying it in this, and I just basically put it right here in the door, and it just stays right there. It's actually really nice to have very easy access. So when I am charging at a supercharger, I just hop out, grab the adapter, plug in. Now, something that I do want to specifically call out for the Mach-E is that it does support plug-in charge, and it does plug-in charge with Electrify America and Tesla superchargers. And what that means is like I literally plug in and the car starts charging. Now, I have to have like my credit card info set up on my Ford account, but just makes it very easy to have that. The other couple of things I want to mention related to charging, one is the Blue Oval charging network that is available for Lightnings and the Mustang Mach-E. And what it is it means like if I go up to like a charge point or EV-Go or like whatever charging station that's considered within the Blue Oval charging network, I can activate that charge with my Ford Pass app that's on my phone or within the car, and I don't have to install like a bunch of other different apps. I can find them with the Ford Pass app. I can activate it. Makes it super simple for consolidating all the billing info, and that's just great. Now the other thing, and this is actually huge and very new, and I should have probably mentioned this earlier in the video, because Ford also now has the Ford Power Promise for new Mustang Mach-Es and Lightnings. And what it means is they are going to help you get home charging. We did a complete video on this with links to the press info and all of that stuff. But basically, you buy a Mach-E, they'll give you the charger and help pay for installation. That's huge because as we've said over and over, if you own an EV, it's really, the experience is like so much better if you can charge at home, and now Ford is helping you do that. So that's fantastic news. There's some other things that go along with that. Like they also want to reemphasize there's a 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty on the battery, just to give you some reassurance. If you ever do run out of charge, they'll tow you to a charger, which is great for them to offer. But I got to tell you, like, we know hundreds of Mach-E owners and Tesla owners and other EV owners, and I don't know anybody that's been towed to a charger, because the car helps you out with that inside. We'll show you a little bit of that when we hop in and take a look at the interior and the software. But let's continue, and we'll look in the trunk before we hop into the car. Sound good?
Yeah.
So back here, of course, you know, one of the controversial things about this being a Mach-E, being called a Mustang, is that it is electric, but it's also that it's like a 4-door SUV / crossover. But it is fantastic because it gives us a lot more extra space. There's some leaves that got in here. This floor basically is really nice. We of course can put the seats down. I might plop those down to see, but you can sort of see what I'm talking about. But this floor is removable, so I can take it out. But underneath, this is like the portable charging cable that you can option to buy with the car, or if you have your own, you can put that back here. It also has space for a tire inflator. There is no spare, but there is a tire inflator that hooks up to the 12 volt. So if your tire is low, you can add a little bit of air to get you to a station if you have issues. And just like in places like Colorado, I find that it's nice to have that, because as temperatures change, seasons change, it's really nice to be able to like add a few pounds of air, like in the winter when because of the lower temperatures, my tires pressure goes a little bit low. But I want to show you that floor was in the low position, and if I put it in the high position, it now, here's the trick, and I will show you. I'm going to pop down this one of the seats just so you can see. If I put down one of the seats, we can put down both, but it makes this basically like a flat area. It gives you a ton of room, and you can sleep in the back of a Mach-E if you're relatively short, you know.
It's about 6 feet, right?
Yeah, I know we both laid in the back. We had an air mattress, and we camped one time in the Mach-E. We're not campers.
If we remember, we'll link that video. But yeah.
But it is nice, and of course, you know, if you know, when you're in camping mode, you can like move the front seats forward, even put them, like, lean them forward, and it gives you a ton of room back here. And with this one, with the glass roof, you can look up and see the sky.
Let me see the trees. Not really. But if you're curious, one of the big reasons that we knew the Mach-E was perfect was also because we can fit my recumbent trike in here. Now, that's not actually something that we've ended up doing because we just ride from home, but my recumbent trike is enormous. I do think we have a video of fitting it in.
We do.
So it's a 3-wheel trike, you know, like 2 wheels in the back, and then, 2 wheels in the back, 1 in the front.
No.
2 in the front, 1 in the back. It's been so long.
There you go.
And it can fit assembled, like fully assembled in here. Also, I want to point out quickly, in case there's any confusion, unfortunately, the Mach-E does not have Pro Power on board. It can fit a Patrick.
Yep.
The trunk can fit a Patrick.
And you don't want to put a ton of weight on here. I weigh less than the weight limit, but you can also fit a wheelchair on here. But yeah, it's actually a decent amount of space. Definitely a ton of room for luggage. We've done lots of road trips, tons and tons of road trips in our Mach-E, and it's so nice. You can just put tons of stuff back here, suitcases, carry-ons, whatever. Yeah,
there's a ton of room. But so I was saying there's no Pro Power on board, because someone was asking that recently on the forums. But there is a 12 volt, which of course you can power the
air inflator
with.
And there's one in the center console as well.
So that's pretty handy. And then you have the storage on either side, which we actually tend to put like a fancy pony bag on one side and a cleaning kit on the other.
And here's by the way, the subwoofer for the B&O sound system. So on the GT and the Premium, they have the B&O, and on the Rally, subwoofer is back here. And we'll get into the B&O in a little bit as well. We will talk a little bit about, you know, Liv mentioned the tri-bar front lights and reference these tri-bar tail lights. So there's the tri-bar tail lights. They actually just came on as we closed it. And the blinker is like sequential as well. So really, like one of my favorite features is that sequential light up. Now, we also mentioned that this is the one area where on the premium and other, basically every other Mach-E, there's a pony back here. Because it's a GT model, it just says GT, there's no pony there. And on ours, we've actually taken that off and modified it. We got a light up GT badge from EV-Vida. We'll put a link down below to that. It's fantastic. And it like has a startup animation, and you can wire it so that you can reverse. When you reverse, it turns white. When you brake, it's red. And when the lights are on, it's like a subdued red. It's really slick and a nice little added feature. Something that seems like minor, but is really nice. And this window is really dusty right now. I apologize. But there is a windshield wiper. Some people actually put one that's slightly longer. I think it's actually longer for 2024. I should check that when we get home. I think it's actually longer.
It goes all the way to the end.
So yeah, because before it stopped a little bit short. I think this is actually longer, if I'm not mistaken. But some of the competitors don't have rear window wipers, and then it's a bit of a pain. But overall, I think that's the exterior. Should we hop in?
Yeah. Welcome to what is commonly what happens in this car. I'm in the passenger seat, and it's a great place to be. As you can tell, the GTs have a whole lot of bolstering. Patrick's leaning back there. Can you see?
Yeah, I'm just making sure I get the whole back so you can see that it flares around the shoulders, like I mentioned during the driving segment.
So there's a whole bunch of shoulder bolstering, side bolstering, which is appropriate because this is a performance vehicle and it rips. So it's really nice to be held tightly in here. But we have the perfect center console. I really like it for elbows, like leaning my elbow in here. Patrick's showing you guys. We often put cameras and stuff in here. There's a little spider in there. But if you want, you can draw this to cover it. It's a great place for a lot of storage, a lot of things that you need handy. And the materials in this are absolutely gorgeous.
It is a vegan interior, so any of these that look like leather, it's vegan. Don't say fake leather, it's vegan.
Vegan leather.
That's the new term, right?
Vegan leather,
But
yeah.
even like the suede on the dash.
Not sure how much you can tell, but it is a suede, a sort of a micro suede. It's also on the doors, so when your elbow touches the doors, it's a nice soft place. We have the 15.5-inch screen, which is enormous, really. It's really large, and we always enjoy the vertical orientation because then you have sort of more of your maps as you're driving forwards. Right now, though, we are in Google Maps, but some features that I really love about the Mach-E, I personally like the start and stop button. You'll have to let us know what you think. Some people hate it. Some people love it. But in front of it is a manual vent control, which is something that I'd say both I and Patrick love on many vehicles, is that we can just adjust it without looking at any point. And that's also something that we can do with the dial. And adjust the fan speed as you see it switch to a little fan in the middle, and then it defaults back to volume. So the fact that the dial is multi-use. Now, if you don't know this about me, I have some damage to my left hand. So these are the only fingers that I can really use. So I personally find the dial really helpful and really easy to use because I can just boop and then dial. Or if I want to turn the volume down and say something to Patrick, it's really easy for me to do. I'm not going to do it right now because we don't want music blasting. But dexterity wise, it's a simple feature, and I really like that. Some other cool features about the cabin, which are also great dexterity wise: easy to open, glasses, hidey thingy, technical term right there, and grab handles.
And all four seats have grab handles.
All four seats have grab handles, which is so nice.
And it's not only for when I'm driving a little fast. It helps getting in and out sometimes for people that are have challenges, especially like in the rear. Like we have mother-in-laws and father-in-laws and things like that, and they like being able to have a nice little grip.
Yeah, and that really is the case. Oftentimes we find with I'll just say it, with older people that get in this vehicle, it is a little lower, or older people getting in vehicles in general. I've seen them get in sideways often. So like they'll get in and they'll hold the grab handle and pivot and use it to pivot. So that's a really important thing. There are some vehicles that don't have them. So I'm not sure how much you can lean forward and show, Patrick, but we'll just, we're giving you guys sort of a more overview on the vehicle than we normally do, because why not? Some of you guys haven't seen our older videos. So right now this thing is jammed with keys, mics. That's sort of unusual, but at the front you see an A and C plug, and one of Patrick's phones is charging on the wireless charging pad. The other side is not a charging pad. Side-by-side cup holders, which I love because I love to have my own. Back years ago in Patrick's WRX, mine was in the back.
Soda over there in the side pocket.
I actually put it in the front.
Oh, you put it in the front?
Yeah, I put it in the front because I didn't want too much mess. But there's soda. Actually, can I show you guys? Why don't I steal the camera just a titch? So let's see if you can see it here. But right over here is the perfect spot with an indentation for your soda. I'm that weird person who likes to have multiple beverages, so I have a soda or a bottle of water there or something, and then I'll have my coffee or my bottle of water on the center console over here. But let's take a look quickly at the seats. So I know we said that the side bolstering and back bolstering, good job, seat model. But look at it. Is it the ActiveX? Is that what it's called?
That's I don't know.
I think it's called ActiveX.
I thought that was in premium, but
I don't know. But either way, can you see that it's sort of reflective?
It's actually in the little dots. It's reflective material, and it's just a neat effect at night when the light hits it just right. But it's also like the other material is like a suede. Again, vegan, but feels very nice and comfortable.
And this, it looks like it would be ventilated because of the perforations, but it is not.
It is heated.
It is heated, but it feels good. Like we've been in various extremely hot conditions, and it's been pretty great.
And part of that is due to the HVAC. The HVAC is really, really good in this car.
It is. But why don't we have Patrick demonstrate some of the rear? How do you feel back there?
Rear seat is like, of course, I'm short, but I have like tons of leg room. We've had people, like Liv has her seat very far forward and people sitting behind her. They still have leg room.
I have my seat very far back. Yeah.
Oh, very far back. Yeah, very far back. Yeah.
Tall person.
But everybody that's been riding around with us the past couple of weeks is like, it's very comfortable back here. Now, this is, does have the Magna Ride suspension, premium and select. I have heard people talk about it can be a little bit bouncy back here for the passengers. We don't ride in the back that often. So, but very comfortable. We, of course, have a nice armrest, but there's also a couple of cup holders here. There's, storage compartments here. One of the things that's missing from the premium, you can't see it, but it's okay because it's missing. On the GT, there's no storage in the back of the seat. On the premium and select, there's like little pockets where you can store stuff. I will take
Which is actually a bummer, sorry to say, because we had a little trash bag, a little Mustang trash bag that slotted into that space, which I thought was kind of cool. So we had to get rid of that.
And then, of course, we do have some vents back here that we can control, close, and a USB A and C. But the other thing to point out, of course, is like the completely flat floor, so that, if you are the person that gets stuck sitting in the middle seat, there is not a big giant hump in your way. But the materials back here are basically the same, the same material, the suede on the door, and just overall very nice. And of course, back here, we have our camera thing mounts suction cup over there, but you have the glass roof. It's a little bit dirty because I was trying different suction cup areas, but you can see out from back here. I think the back passengers get a better view of the glass roof because I'm just looking out of the windshield. And the other thing that a lot of people will ask us about is like how much heat comes from the glass roof, and we haven't found it. We have found that this is like one of the better IRR/tinted glass roofs, and we've reviewed a lot. Some, I think what they do is like they don't have as much tinting and IRR protection, so they have a thing that slides to close to like block it, but then you don't really get the benefits of the glass roof. And I think this is a good compromise. They just, have it open all the time, and it's not super bright, so it doesn't bother us because it's, even with the sun, I'll point directly up at the sun. There we go. It's fairly tinted in here. Like, I don't feel like I'm being blinded by the sun, even though it's sort of like right in my eyes right now.
Yeah, like Patrick said, a lot of the cars that have a cover seem to have not as good IR coating. This is hella hot when you touch it. It is hella hot, but you don't feel that in this space here, and it's probably like doing its job, absorbing the temperature. I do wonder if you're so tall that you're like right there or something.
Maybe, yeah.
You might
I mean,
feel the heat.
it's definitely
within
hotter than not having it, but it's not bad. So.
And like by here, you don't feel it, but like right on it, it's like, ooh, that's hot. But it's doing its job.
Let me hop out and I'll jump in the front seat and show you a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I won't spend a ton of time. I mean, it's basically very standard steering wheel. It actually has like some stitching that feels really nice. It is a completely round. A lot of, people are going to like squircles and all these things, or flat bottom. This is basically pretty standard circle. My cruise control, BlueCruise, all of that stuff, those settings are over on the left. Media stuff is over on the right, including like if I want to speak to the car, it does have a wake word, so I can use the forward assistant, or I can press and hold it for a little bit longer and contact the Google or Apple Assistant, Siri, whatever. And of course, those also have wake words, so I could, wake them up using the wake word. Very standard stuff. Everything is pretty standard. If you're wondering what this thing is here, those are like two little lights that are infrared lights with cameras. And what they do is they make sure that I'm watching the road while I'm driving, specifically when the cruise control, BlueCruise is on. And if I'm not watching the road, it displays an alert that it does an audible sound and tries to get my attention facing forward. Very critical for it to do that. And by having the infrared, it can literally track my eyes, even with sunglasses, even in the dark. So like, even when it's dark, it's able to track eyes. Really nice, and helps with the safety features. Everything else is fairly standard. I'll point out a couple of 1, 2, 3s. There's 3 different home link buttons up here, so you can do 3 different garage doors, have it tied in. And then there's also on the door, there's 3 different seating position memories, so that I can set my seating position and hit 1, 2, or 3. But it's also really smart. So if you have the phone as a key and have your phone connected to your profile or your key fob, we hardly ever use the key fobs. We use phone as a key. It means I can leave the key fob at home and just use my phone as the key, which is phone as a key. But it means like if I get in on this side, it knows that I'm getting in and I'm the driver, so it goes to my profile and my position, which includes like driving settings as well. If Liv gets in with her phone on this side, it recognizes that. It switches to her seating position and her driving settings and other preferences in the car. So that's just a really nice way of being able to have custom settings without having to change a bunch of things. Because in the Mach-E, there's a ton of different settings. Oops, that's going into apps. I'll show you that there's a few apps, including entertainment apps, so you can like watch YouTube. Karaoke is coming very, very soon, but some little games and stuff like that if you want to play like while you're charging. But we'll just hop into the settings, and I won't go into this in extreme detail, but there's a lot of different settings. The main thing here is Whisper, Engage, and Unbridled. Whisper is like your relaxing, calm, quiet drive. Engage is like your balanced, everyday driving, and then Unbridled is when you want to go have fun. On each of these, there's some other options, like your one pedal driving on and off. And one pedal driving means that if you take your foot off the accelerator, it uses not really braking, it's like regen, so it's charging the battery as it's slowing you down, but it's almost like a braking effect. So that you can turn that on and off. Liv likes it off, I like it on. The propulsion sound, it adds some sound that makes it sort of sound like a motor. A lot of people like that. I don't like it, so I turn it off for me. And it auto hold, and if you tap on that, like all of these, you can do that. Basically, it's like if I come to a stop, the car is going to hold its position. It's not going to let the car roll. So all of those are different things that you can set within the different drive modes. I think I just got a text message. But there's, again, just tons of options and settings here. Amazon Alexa is available as well. I'll mention that it does get software updates over the air. Like this one just got an update a couple of days ago. You can set it on like a daily schedule to get software updates or check for software updates. And then when Ford releases one, it comes to the car automatically because I have that on. But yeah, we won't dive into too many details. That'll be for another video. We'll cover this up. But let's see. I think that's about it. Should we?
I think there's one change that you should show.
What is? Oh my gosh! Yeah, we meant to show this in another video. I'm going to turn on the sound and make sure the volume is down, but then I can show you one little change for 2024. Okay, I got the sound down, but it's actually playing, but it's like at volume 0. But if I go over here to the settings and then go into sound, then tone settings, it has. Like for ours, it had the basically the equalizer as normal as you find in a lot of cars, and you have treble, mid-range, and bass. But for 2024, and I think this may be rolling out to 2022, 2023, 2021. I always do them out of order. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. But you can change to B&O, Biosonic sound adjustments, warm, energetic, relaxed, bright, custom. So if I...
and I'm trying to minimize the glare.
I know. But you can set for like party, lounge, podcast, custom, neutral. We've been sort of like doing party, and then we add some warmth to it, and it's sort of basically, I think it's doing the same things that you can do in the equalizer, but it's just sort of a more graphical way of going like energetic versus warm and whatever,
which is fun.
But it sounds really good. Like I think they've improved the sound quality as a DSP that they have obviously updated, and it just comes out sounding really good. But yeah, I think that's a good overview. We have a lot of videos on the Mach-E that cover a lot of little bits of this in more detail. Maybe we'll do one long video covering like just the software, just the steering wheel or whatever. Let us know if you think we should do some more in-depth videos, or like we also found that it seems like people like the 101 videos. So like maybe we'll do a charging 101 or settings 101 basic intro to all of this stuff. But I think that's pretty good for our overview. Yeah, let's hop out. As an added bonus, we also wanted to sort of do a little bit of a comparison with a GT versus a Select. So like, of course, the GT's, the performance has dual motors, all-wheel drive, and this Select is like standard range, rear-wheel drive only. So we're gonna do a little bit of a comparison. I do want to note, of course, this is also a 2022, like our Mustang Mach-E, and of course 2024. So there's some slight differences that we'll point out, but mainly we just covered this one quite a bit. So I just want to point out some of the differences here. So I think Liv mentioned, like the front end is a little bit different. Like the grille area is the same color as the car, whatever color you order. This on the Select, the grille or wraparound has like fins on it, sort of ridges at least. On the Premium, it's a bit different. It's just a piano black. Down here, it doesn't have the big black splitter. It doesn't have like the flow through around, just slight differences. But you see, so it has like the cooling fins and things like that. Coming around to the side, this is where you see some of the other differences. On the GT, these are the same color as the car, but on the Select, it's like a matte black finish. On Premiums, it is a piano black. The wheels, of course, are different, but they're also a different size. And this is one of the things that helps the Select out with the range so much, is these are 18-inch wheels instead of 20-inch wheels. Not, of course, as high a performance, but it helps out with the range. The mirrors, again, instead of being black, they're the same color as the car. This one is optioned with the steel roof. So there were some different options that you can do depending on trim. You can do glass roof, steel roof, black steel roof. This one has the steel roof that's body color. Down here, once again, it's like a matte finish instead of a piano black like on the GT and Premium. Coming all the way back, everything else is pretty much the same. And as we mentioned, the GT does not have the pony in the back, but it also, here's the pony here, which is on all the trims except for the GT that has the GT. But we're going to take a look inside just real quick. Because this is a Select, it has just a regular sound system. It doesn't have the B&O sound system. So like the center speaker up there is missing, but there's still a good amount of speakers. Stereo sounds, you know, good, not the like extra subwoofer and with the center speaker there. But looking at the materials, you still have like the fabric here, a different design on the dash. And of course the seats are different. I'm going to move this out of the way. This is actually my brother's car, like FYI. The seats are a different material. Again, it's a vegan seat, so it is a, don't say fake leather. It's a vegan leather seat with a different type of stitching in there. Still feels very nice and very comfortable. Everything else is pretty much the same. Instead of saying GT, it says Mustang. Of course, now in the 2024, it says Mustang too, I believe. I'll double check that real quick. If I'm mistaken, I'll put that down in the description. Materials on the side, instead of having like the suede here and the suede here on the dash, it's just the vegan leather. So not that big of a difference overall in the looks, but just a different feel to the car instead of having like the suede feel there. But the biggest point that I wanted to basically make is that between the Select and the GT, quite a bit of price difference, quite a difference in power output or whatever. But if you get a Select, it's actually a really excellent car. Still has all of the, you know, most of the comfort features, and like this one has BlueCruise 1.3, just like the GT over there. So for a lot of, you get a lot of bang for the buck for the Select price. And again, they actually have some fantastic leasing deals right now, and that's sort of the way to go with EVs right now. I'm not one that likes to lease, but right now leasing deals are so good, and with depreciation values on EVs, it's really nice to have them available, whether it's on the Mach-E, Ioniq 5, any of those. But just wanted to give you a quick comparison showing you, like, even if you don't go for the most top dollar Mach-E GT, you still get a really fantastic car, even at the lowest cost one. This one is the standard range rear wheel drive. Technically it's the lowest cost Mach-E, but it's a fantastic car if you don't care about doing 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. So pretty cool. So what do you think? Are you still in the market for a 2024 Mustang Mach-E GT? A lot of people have asked us, like, would we upgrade our 2022 to a 2024 GT? It's hard to do that with the money, you know, what we owe on our current to switch, but it is definitely an improvement. And if you're in the market, there's a lot to be said for what the 2024 offers.
Yeah, I mean, we, like a lot of people, we're like underwater in our loan, basically. And I say that like this because, like, this car, we can drive it until we're, you know, done with the leasing or whatever, but so then it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter that we're underwater. We're fine with this. But if I was fresh on the market, if we were fresh on the market, GT is a great deal. Magna Ride is still super awesome. There's some amazing leasing deals, I think, for the GT of like 500 something. What is that?
I don't know. They keep changing, so we'll put a link on how you can change, check on those.
Yeah.
There's great leasing deals. It's about 55 with some options. You can go up a little bit higher than that. So for what you get, it's really good. A lot of times people try to compare apples to apples like this and the Model Y, especially the Model Y Performance. Model Y Performance is a great deal, but I think it's missing some things that I really like in this, like the Magna Ride suspension, 360 camera, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, cross traffic alert. I think it's more comfortable. I think the HVAC is better.
The aesthetics also.
I like the way it looks.
If you like the way it looks, that's a big seller. And if you like the way it looks, then it doesn't matter what you get, because you get this in every trim. Pretty much, you get slight differentiation in color options, in the black splitter, or in the front, like you'd get a body match front fascia in every other trim than the GT. right? No, and the rally.
And the rally.
Of course.
So there's slight differences
So you can
between the
switch it
trim
up.
levels, but they're all really excellent. They're not, of course, quite as fast. Like the Select is not as fast, but like a premium Mach-E all-wheel drive extended range is 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds, which is pretty darn quick.
Yeah, that's just fine. So if you like the aesthetics, if you don't need the performance, any of these is great, and Year is great. There are a ton of good used Mach-Es on the market now, which is so cool. Like when we started doing this, when we started sharing with you guys about the Mach-E and about EVs, the idea of EVs infiltrating the used market was an idea for the future, right? Like, you know, once we get there, now we're seeing these sweet vehicles, these feel like the newest on the market in the used market, and you have the option of the 2024, these brand new things. So you got a lot of options. It's a great position to be in.
And not only with the Mach-E, there's a lot of other great options out there. We reviewed them. We have videos on quite a few of them. So take a look at all of those, consider your options, go take one for a test drive if you can, and make your own decision is the bottom line. But hopefully we gave you some insight into some things that you may not notice on a quick 30-minute test drive.
Yeah, and by the way, when you do that test drive, make sure to sit in the back, sit in the passenger seat, and put your passengers where they're gonna go. So if you're gonna have kids in the back often, make sure they go with you, make sure they sit in the back. If you're gonna be driving your parents around often, or an elderly person in general, take them with you and make sure it's okay for them, because your experience might be different to theirs and our experience might be different to you. So if you have a different opinion, share it down below. It's all a conversation and sharing our thoughts and feelings. And if ours is different to yours, awesome, that's totally fine. You know our tagline, and if you don't, we'll get to it pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it's time to get to it. I'm getting hot.
But first, it's so hot. Thank you so much for joining us for this video in which we went in depth into the new 2024 Mustang Mach-E GT in rapid red. Huge thank you to our patrons whose names are scrolling across the screen right now. We appreciate you guys so much and your support of us, this channel, and this endeavor. Thank you to our YouTube members too for supporting us. You know them by the lightning bolts next to their name.
When they comment.
When they comment.
So you got to comment too.
If you are a Mustang Mach-E enthusiast or Mach-E owner, make sure to join the Mustang Mach-E Club of America at mustangmacheclub.org. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
And on that note, just remember that whatever you drive, whether it's a rapid red Mustang Mach-E, grab a blue, or something else entirely, enjoy the ride. Bye.
Bye.